So I'm sitting here in my old neighborhood. It's February 2018. It's early March, and spring really hasn't even begun to have its effect on this area. It's still a little bit cold out here. I'll probably come back for a longer shoot when it's a little bit warmer. But this is one of my ideas, is that I come into the element and do some recording. Today I'm using the little boom mic that sits on top of the camera. I also have remote wireless microphones that I can use, which may be better suited for this kind of recording. I don't even know if this microphone is even capable of picking up my voice from this distance. And there's so much freaking background noise, which you can hear, that you may not even be able to hear what I'm saying anyway. So the outer drive is just to the right of me, and what is behind me is Diversey Harbor. That's where the rich people keep their boats during the summer. Since winter is just barely kissing this area goodbye, and spring hasn't even hinted at arrival yet, no boats are in the harbor. But in the summertime, this harbor is full of literally hundreds of million-dollar vessels that have access to the lake just to the right of me through a bridge or archway just under that outer drive, which I suspect you can't see. In the background over here, on this side, I hope you can see that that's the downtown area and how beautiful it is on a day like today. The temperature may not be supporting my activity today, but certainly the skies and the sun are. This was after we moved to Chicago. We first lived on Clyburn Avenue and then on North Park. So we spent a few months, maybe a year, over in that area living in what could only be described as ghettos. And then we moved to this area, into the basement apartment on Deming Place, which is just a couple of blocks that way. So we went from a situation where we had no access to anything of any quality for kids to play in, to this beautiful park that goes for miles. It starts about 2 miles back that way and goes about 8 miles, actually probably further. It goes all the way downtown and then goes further south for another several miles. So this was our playground when we were kids. Paul and I spent a lot of time together getting into mischiefs and just enjoying the park. Even as we got older, even when we were little kids, we still enjoyed coming to the park. I will film over there a little later, on that side over there, which is Lincoln Park. I think this is also part of Lincoln Park, although this is officially called Diversey Harbor. But just on the other side of Lakeview Drive is Lincoln Park, and it has its own pond and its own stories from when we were kids. So this is my experiment with trying that outside. I probably should try those other microphones, the other microphone right now, just to see if that works better. And it probably does. But anyway, hopefully you can see me clearly with enough lighting here. The sun is not perfectly placed. It's over my shoulder here, which I remember for certain effect when you're taking photographs, that's not a bad place to put the sun. The only place that the sun, in my recollection, can become your enemy if you don't have artificial illumination to offset it, is when it gets behind you. Because then it can really do some damage to your photographs and to your photographic equipment. But anyway, that's not the case today, and we're not taking photographs, we're just doing this video. Just behind you, just behind this camera, I'm calling that camera you, is the driving range that you can, when we were kids, you paid $1 or so and you get a bucket of balls. They'd loan you a club and you could come over here and bash golf balls out onto the field. That's basically what we did, because we certainly didn't know anything about golf, but they didn't have any restrictions on whether we could hit the balls if we had to be specially trained to use their clubs. they actually let us do it even with our new bit of no understanding. What I'm looking at right now is tennis courts. When we were kids, those were clay courts. It looks to me now like they've surfaced them with some sort of that tar-like substance that they put on some nice courts. They're still very nice courts. I think it's, although it's in the park and it's probably public, it's a pretty restricted access there. One time when Paul and I were kids, and we don't know anything about clay courts, and we hardly know anything about tennis. And we scaled those fences and went in with our tennis rackets and our tennis balls. And I guess there's a process where they prepare the courts by re-wetting the mud and making everything all smooth, get rid of all the footprints, and then it has to cure, or it has to sit and set overnight, whatever period of time. But obviously when we climbed there that morning, it is nowhere near set, and we played in what was like a mud-like tennis court, and when we were done it looked like horses had played on the court. So I'm sure when they got there, they were somewhat disappointed in their efforts in preparing the court for whatever that day's activities were. We didn't find out because we hightailed it out of there early enough so that we didn't get caught or nabbed by the police. Right here, right down that street, there was a common area. It was called Bum's Jungle. It was an overgrowth of bush and trees, and homeless people, which we at that time called bums, lived there. And in the summer they grew gardens with various vegetables, and I have no idea how that was put together and who allowed it, but there they were. They tore all that down when we were kids and built high-rises, which of course are still there. Probably $1 million homes in those condos now. When we were kids, the folks who lived there, believe me, didn't have $1 million. Behind us here, this is all a public area, but they're offering things that really are for the more wealthy, exclusive, non-public type people. This Diversey Harbor is mostly filled with boats from owners who live in the suburbs, not in Chicago. There's probably very few Chicago boats in there, most of the rich people from the suburbs. There's a yacht club, which when Paul and I were kids, we were walking through the park here, the park that we have access to, and some old dude said, "Hey, you kids, come over here. You hungry?" And even at that time, when we were still naive, we knew not to fall for the enticings of some old dude, but he seemed harmless enough. So we went over and he said, "Come on in, I'll buy you dinner." And he took us into the dining area of the yacht club and let us order and eat what we wanted. He did no harm to us and he fed us. I don't know what his motivation was. I'm sure that Paul and I, we were testing out that theory, is there such thing as a free meal? And in that case, it seemed like pretty close. He didn't expect very much from us. Anyway, that's why I'm here today, just testing out my camera, see how it works in this environment. And I'll be back when it's a little warmer. It was actually in the mid-50s when I left home. And as you get closer here to the lake, which is still a big slushy ice mess out there, it considerably cools down this area. Even in the summer, when the temperatures are in the 80s and 90s, that lake will cool this area by several degrees, sometimes as many as 10 or 15 degrees cooler than if you just go a few blocks to the west. So when I got here, and I left home thinking, oh, go over by the lake, it's warm enough. It's not quite warm enough. It's more like 40 here in the mid-50s where I left from what. So I'll be back when it gets warmer, but at least this is my first try.